them all down into one word.
Taking the same idea of looking at the whole individual, I'd like to turn to you, Tomoko, because I know your work as an instructor really focuses on integrating the body with the mind and the heart and consciousness and expression. So can you share more about this? And for those who aren't familiar and haven't practiced, what this really feels like and looks like in terms of the work you do?
Ross, thank you for mentioning about different ways of learning, not just in the knowledge, but as a whole being. It really does relate to Tenshin title Kenbu practice. In Kenbu, a lot, because it's a physical practice, a lot of the learning comes through the body, inevitably. So it doesn't come as just like a chunk of knowledge, but it becomes more of an embodied practice. And I just wanted to give you an example of this exercise that we do. And so we do a lot of physical exercises to prepare to do the forms. And one exercise that we have is, it looks like a really intense frog jump. So it's a frog jump that doesn't just go up, but it moves up and forward. And you come down all the way down to the ground, and then you open up with your hands raised up high like this, and open your chest and your whole body, and you keep on doing this jump. And when I was about like 17 years old, that was about like 20 years ago, I attended this retreat, and we would do this jump outside on the beach along the seashore for about an hour. So just doing this once is hard enough, but you just keep on going and going and going with this jump. And so I was doing the jump, and the rule is that we can't stop. Once the instructor says go, we just keep on going. And even if we reach our physical limits, we just keep on going and going and going. And in this process, there's so much that we learn, because there's so many emotions that come up, like this feeling of struggle, not being able to jump anymore, or not being able to do like a beautiful jump, and kind of like regretting that I started this. And then like tears would come out, and all emotions, and that gets released after a while. And I would keep on jumping and jumping and jumping. And with that kind of emotional release comes this feeling of liberation. And little by little, the more it goes out, the more the things that I've kept in my body, including preconceptions or perspectives, and what I like and what I don't like, or what's good and what's bad, all these ways of thinking and distinctions, everything just falls out by losing the strength or this physical ability. And the more I became empty, the more I felt like I could be everything. It kind of contradicts the word. The more I became nothing, the more I became everything. And then it just felt like I could jump forever and ever to the horizon. And I'm losing all the strength, but my senses were getting so much wider. I could feel so much. And I could also feel the people behind me or in front of me, and also could really feel the waves and the breeze so clearly and vividly. So the more I dropped the idea of doing something, there was so much that came into me so naturally, and it was effortless. And then in the end, with that kind of emptiness, the instructor said, okay, we could stop and let's just sit down on the sand and close with this final meditation. And when I dropped down onto the sand, I could really feel that I'm just a part of this wider nature and the universe. and a part of this sand that I'm sitting on, and a part of the waves that's just moving in front of me ceaselessly. So that kind of oneness with something greater than ourselves, and this connection to life itself, it just comes through the body and through the mind and through the spirit and everything together as a whole. So it really couldn't be separated at that moment. And that's I think a lot of people have experienced this kind of like state of being like maybe like being in the zone or this flow state after doing one thing for quite a long while. And so once we develop this kind of feeling or state of being inside us, we could apply that in our daily lives whenever we're working on something, just dropping our minds and dropping everything that we already have, but looking at things from in a new light, or accepting things as the way it really is just as is. And so even with, and it doesn't have to be this jump, it doesn't have to be as intense as a jump. And so once we have this feeling, we could just do a sequence of movements and just keep on doing that, and feeling the oneness with the sword, or having this connection with the partner as if the weapon or the person is not something so detached from you. It's not something that's the other to you, but as something that's connected as a part of you and each other.
I think that's a really perfect time to transition from what you just described, Tomoko, this not only whole person connecting to these other parts of ourselves and being open to new ways of thinking, to turn to you, Buthaina, because I know your work is in green vocational training, and a lot of what you do has to do with not only the mechanics of green vocational training, but also the other elements that a person needs in order to work in this field. So could you tell us a bit about how you do that in your work?
I'm inspired from my colleague talks. And she's missing. She's touching something that we are working on it. That learning is a dynamic connection between yourself and between the others, and between your community and your environment also. So, and this is what we have. We have found that during our vocational training, giving the young people, giving them the skills and the technical skills, that we found that the main barrier for what we are facing with them are that they their self-awareness, their confident, their more beliefs. So from there we have start working as we are first, before giving them the technical skills that we are going to build with them, and to invest in their selves first, so we can start making the change we are all want to do. And this is what we are facing in the environment sector, that all of us are seeing the problem, and all of us are feeling frustrated and want to do something, but nothing is done. And from there we have started that and take this belief from our and start working with it with all the people we are working with, especially with the youth, that better to light a candle than to Christ darkness. So we have to start first from ourselves, to build ourselves, to build our belief, to build our connection with others, with our environment, and then we can start working in doing the change we want to do. And from there we have start building their confidence, their self belief more, to believe that they can make the change from building their self confidence. And this was the start our program, especially for the environmental behavior leaders, because we want to make the youth and the next generation feel that they can do the change, and they can also better their life, and also they can build themselves also during what's the whole their whole life also. And this is the whole thing we have start working on it.
What you mentioned there at the end, especially of helping and making sure that the learners feel capable and feel like they are able to step in and try something new. That brings me back to you, Jana, because I know that one of your projects is a game to help build people's mechanical skills for repairing cars. And I know that you've done something very strategic in terms of who you've cast as the main character in this game. And could you just tell me, I think this is a great example of having to change the way, or changing the way that my preset thoughts about something, changing what those preset thoughts might be in order to be open to learning something new, which can be so important for learning. So Jana, could you tell us a little bit about that project?
So this game, it's called Car Girl Garage. It aims to teach women in a friendly and relaxed way about basic car DIY that's applicable to real-life situations. Its main protagonist is a young woman who inherited her grandfather's garage, and she wants to restore it to its former glory. As the player, you have to help her fix customer cars and fix the workshop. We want to encourage and support the idea of women starting their own garage. This is one of the industries that are men dominated. Many women feel uncomfortable going to male mechanics because they fear being overcharged. A study by Northwestern University shows that women do tend to pay more than men for auto repairs, especially if they have little or no knowledge of cars. Also, we like to add a variety of races. The first customer at our garage is an African American woman because we believe that Black lives matter, all lives matter.